50 or % nickel. So this depends, but you understand? And, in the old sheet, before, with the old input, we had a FA yield of 45. What was this? It was 45, the old sheet.
Fee?
Yes. And we had 22
9.
per nickel. Okay? What was the yield?
In case FEO or
No. FEO reduction, FEO reduction yield is
45.
45. Okay. And then we changed everything. We went in another world with other analysis input, and of course we had still 45 because we did not change the yield. And then we had, so this is other plant. And then we had 17% nickel. Okay, that's just not possible. That's not acceptable. This is worth nothing. So, what do people? What do the operators? They increase the coke, and we have seen that we must increase the yield to 60 to have 20 or 21, I don't remember exactly. And that's real life. And in this other plant, the yield will be 60, but the coke consumption will be accordingly. You understand? The yield is not a constant. I cannot. I will never give you a yield. It is like if you tell me I buy a car, you guarantee the consumption, and then you go to the mountain and you say, you told me the power is like this. No, if you have more, if you climb the mountain, you have to give more power. That's the same. That's real life. You have to adapt to the objective of production. The objective is not a yield, the objective is a ferronickel product with more than 20%, but okay, it may be 21 or 22 or 25, depending on the customer's requirement, but never less than 20. You understand? So I cannot tell you what yield. You tell me what nickel percentage you want to have, and then in the ferronickel furnace, the adjustment parameter is the carbon. Then you increase the carbon, and so you increase the iron yield, and not you increase, you I just wonder, is otherwise. If you increase the iron, you reduce the nickel normally. Anyway, it's the other way. But it's the other way. Yeah? But the problem is that you want to have a final nickel percentage.
final liquor percentage?
We will check on with the real value. See, here we have increased the yield. Actually, no, excuse me, we have decreased the yield to be close to 20%. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I decrease more, 40 instead of 45, I will have more than 20%. But of course, I have more Fe in the slag. And look, and here I have a good final product. And I need 26.9 kilos. Kilo coke. And now if I put more carbon, meaning increase the yield, I have less nickel, and of course I have more carbon. In practice, the operator does not say, I set a yield. He put more or less carbon, and the yield is the result. Because when you put more carbon, you will reduce more iron. But in this case, I have less. I have less nickel. You understand?
Because more FeO reduced.
Yes. Okay?
This is okay. You say define final liquors percentage is ordered by user. In this case, we set how we take how users make how much the percent liquors can product by this yield. So the meaning is we can change the only this yield percent. We can only change. So
yes, but okay. We can say also we can change the carbon, but the calculation is not made like this. The calculation is not giving the carbon as an input. It's giving the yield. But the carbon results in the calculation. You understand? If you want to make a macro, an Excel macro, you can make an automatic calculation to find out what you want, if you want. But I do it manually, meaning I change the yield and I check the carbon, which results, and I check the nickel, which results. For me, it's correct like this, because it's not a long time to adjust. You have seen, and for me, it's always good to feel things, to see if I change this, I change this. Of course, here it's not good. So better to put this one. Okay, then we have more FeO, and again, then you see this is less. Okay, there is something I don't understand very well because they have more metal. I think there is something in the input which is not correct. And the other remark is, you see here that if I have this is how to say, it's roughly the double power from the power we had in the other sheet. So meaning it's a much bigger furnace. So we have to increase the losses as well. No? You agree? I don't know how much, but like this. And then the power required is 71, and this is coherent what they say. They say peaks of 90 megawatt. Peaks.
Yeah.
Okay. And in case of the ferromanganese, the problem is the same. In the ferromanganese, the target, there is a target of manganese share, and if you want to obtain a rich slag, you put less carbon.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And actually, again, there you don't, in the calculation, you don't enter, you have not a constant yield. You have, you put the objective to have about 30% manganese in the slag. No? Okay? It's similar, but not exactly the same, because in case of ferromanganese, you have two objectives. It is to have a good metal and to have a good slag. You have two products that you sell.
Yeah. And,
Okay?
and we want to have when we want to have a rich slag, the carbon consumption is
Reduce, yes.
reduced. In that case, we put the reduction yield.
Less reduction
Less reduction
of
yield.
manganese. Huh? And here it's different, because you don't, the reduction yield of nickel is very good anyway, 98 or 91, 99, 96, yeah, 96. Okay. To set the yield of nickel, you check that you have here about 0.1% NEO in the slag. That's correct. But once you have this, the product is adjusted by adjusting the yield of iron. Because this gives you the complement of iron to the nickel. And the objective of production in the product is to have more than 20% nickel. Sometimes it's 22 or 23, or this is locally. Therefore, you will ask, when you design the furnace, you will ask the customer, what do you want to produce? And you will not decide this, the customer.
And we can get a target from customer, for example, decaf percentage.
Yeah.
When customer wants more than 20%, we can.
If the customer says 22, then we reduce this.
And I understand the reduction yield is not constant,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
just we check the percentage of nickel, and if the value is correct, we can get a carbon consumption as a result.
Yeah.
그러니까 환원 실수율 저게 일단 상수로 뭐 딱 결정된 건 아니고 이제 우리가 타겟을 정한 저값이 나오게 되면은 저값이 맞춰지면은 저값을 맞추기 위해서 이제 환원율을 좀 조정을 하는데 그 결과로 이제 카본을 이만큼 넣었을 때 이제 카본 얼마나 넣어야 된다 그거를 이제 결과로 이제 얻는 거거든요. 그러니까 카본이 많이 들어가면 그만큼 환원이 많이 된다는 원리고, 그래서 이제 이 비율 자체가 막 딱 정해진 상수는 아니고 이제 그런 식으로 맞춰서 조정해 나가는 부분이라고 얘기를 합니다.
그러면 이제 얘기를 하는 건 아까 이제 원하는 건 그게 아니었잖아.
그냥 이게 뭐 아까
최적의 상수가 얼마고 나쁜 상수가 얼마고 그거를 레퍼런스를 가지고 해야 되는데 그거는 그걸 이제 달랬잖아. 근데 그걸 준다는
못 준다는 이유가 이제 이 사람은
그치. 해줄 수가 없다는 거지, 그치?
아니면 이제 뭐 그때 계산할 때마다 그 조건에 따라서 이제 이거를 맞춰가는.
그렇지. 이게 뭐 어차피 정해지는 거는 카본 양을 많이 넣고 적게 넣고에 따라고 니켈하고 FE하고 이렇게 나오는 거니까 그 비율에 따라서 그리고 뭐 카본 양이잖아, 카본 양.
그렇죠.
나머지는 크게 변하는 게 없는데 카본 양에 따라 다 변하는 거니까. 나중에 우리가 원하는 데 맞춰주면 되겠지. 수업이 원하는 거.
그러니까 뭐 이만큼 그리고 뭐 20% 넣으려면 카본 이만큼 넣어야 된다. 이제 So when you calculate for a case, and you also adjust the reduction yield to meet the customer's requirements.
Of course, what is interesting is to have you see that there are some differences on the initial analysis of what they call the calcine, because it's no more the ore. They call the calcine because it has been calcinated and slightly pre-reduced. You see, the assumption that I made of having NEO, this is not bad because there is only very few nickel. But on the other hand, they still have some Fe2O3, while I had assume that everything was FEO. But that I cannot decide and you cannot decide, because this is the input of the calculation. This the customer has to give you. Right? And to me, what is a bit is to have only 15% on the chromium. But okay, that is correct, because in the ferromangan furnace you have 7%, you target 7% carbon in the metal. So in that case, it is very, very reducing conditions. Here you target only 2% or less, so it's less reducing, and so the chromium yield is very low. But is most of the chromium is in the slag. You see, 0.1 kilo chromium in metal, 1.1 kilo chromium in the slag.
In that case, how can we know if the reduction yield for chromium is correct or?
In this case, this is a case of you have to find you have to decide and you have to find similar case where the reducing conditions are comparable, meaning the reducing conditions are, for instance, FEO in the slag. And then this indicates you whether the partition coefficient is a proportion, is the nickel chromium in slag versus chromium in metal, and this is then very high. But this is using literature. I can show you using experience
Excuse me.
or literature.
점점 좋아져.
네. 네. 키 옆에 집에 뭐 있잖아. 아, 이런 거 돌렸대.
재밌는 것도 있고 아니 근데
그냥 옛날에 안켜놓은 거 같아요. 빼빼가.
네.
아주 써주면서. 쏙쏙 들어오겠네.
좀 지시.
키를 못 뺀다고. 삼성차 키를 못 뺀.
If we continue, and we will continue, of course, I can explain better what are the partition coefficients and how to decide whether the yield is high or not. But you see, you must not exaggerate the importance of chromium, because the result is that for 100 kilo, you have reduced 0.1 kilo chromium. Even if you double the yield and you reduce 0.2 kilo chromium, it has no influence on the heat balance. Here, in that case, in case of ferronickel, the very important things are this and this. Yes, yes. Okay?
Okay.
So, we finished.
Can you show the Excel sheet? I have a
This one, the same one.
yeah, the same one.
Ah, we did not comment this, but I commented with Mr. Jin, this part. But this is nothing, just calculating the. You want me to comment that?
Comment for this.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It's just the amount of tapping between two level of height of. Okay. But you, yes. What was your question?
설명을 안 해도 될까요?
Okay, so we sorry, we'll do in our existing facility. So we serve insert all data, but today have some 3 or 4 40 minutes. We will together insert this data. What is needed? A kind of data and a kind of capacity. So please example one type of this specification. So let's go together and setting the data, and in this case we can this program understood this program. So please help me as a data, insert data.
This one?
Yeah, this one. Is possible? Yeah, in now.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's more or less what we did. We are not so far.
Yeah.
But the problem is we can. You remember we have inserted the data, this data. Huh?
Yeah.
But
First,
yes.
message material.
But we already
No,
changed it.
Yeah.
We increased here to have 100. You remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
And actually, doing this is it is the best we can do, but there is probably a discrepancy because the balance we obtain, you see, when we obtain 20%, when we obtain 20%
20%. Yeah.
nickel and 74% iron.
Yeah. 20% nickel and 74% iron.
That is correct.
That's correct.
But what is not correct is this: they have less iron in the slag.
Yeah.
And this I cannot explain because the balance is, our balance is correct.
Is this in?
There is somewhere, there is a discrepancy, you understand?
Mass and material balance is okay.
Yes.
And the next step,
Yes.
and now it's okay. We charging the 100 kilogram ore, nickel, and we can
But you see, when we charge this, we have only
Yeah.
this nickel. And not 20 tons.
And next step. So
And
we will add the.
the next step is to
Yeah.
calculate the energy.
So how can find this one?
This one.
I can assume the.
Yes. I explained that for ferromanganese,
I think in this case, this price is inner dial is 21 meter.
yes, it's very large. Yes. Okay. You remember for ferromanganese, the situation is like this. And this, the charge is cold. So the heat losses, the important heat losses are here. You remember?
Yeah.
And in this case, ferronickel, this is already hot. You agree? It is calcine, okay.
Mm.
Do they give the temperature? But okay, it's not so important. It's just in our case,
Okay.
it's hot.
네.
So there are more losses. Huh?
The hot because the button is preheated or
Yes. Yes.
so
So there are losses to the roof, while for ferromanganese there are no losses to the roof. This is for any calcine. It's hot, and manganese ore is cold.
in case or
Yeah. And so, for a 12-meter furnace, we have assumed 2,000 kilowatt losses. Okay?
2,000 kilowatt.
Kilowatt losses. And these are only these losses. You agree?
Yeah.
Now, if we go to if we have also ferromanganese of a furnace of 21 meters, this bigger furnace, the losses would be my proposal would be 2,000 times, because if it is only on the circumference, the main losses. Then it is proportional to the diameter. Okay? This is roughly okay? 3,000.
500.
Ah, yes, it's not right. Yes. And but this is only these losses. And then if you have hot calcine,
I
you can
think in this case not hot calcine, cold. I think cold.
cold calcine. Ah, then I would have assumed that. But then the calculation, the heat calculation is false. Then here we have to put what? Zero. And it is this. And then you see. But then here I put 3,500. Then we have even over 100 megawatt. So we should check. You are sure they are completely cold? The calcine? To me, this is crazy because you know it costs so much more energy. I have never seen that okay, a little bit calcine you charge cold because this is, you know, some material that is lost or okay, that is acceptable. But most of the mainstream must be hot calcine directly, because this is a disaster from the energy.
In this case, we more check the calcine's temperature. That's for example, the 200 or 400.
Yes, maybe in average it is not 700, but 200, or I don't know. But of course you may lose temperature, but cold is a disaster. Is this the of the furnace? Yes. That's good. Sorry, it's a lot. What is this? Difficult.
Yeah, difficult. 이렇게 했을 때 이걸 다운 더 엑셀 시 620. As energy consumption in this
Photon
grade,
calcine.
yeah.
500, 40, 500. Yes, it's
620.
it's more, but not so much different. Maybe. Bass resistance.
Yeah.
10 million. And you know, this is very low, yes. They have probably no arcs. This is no arc. Only very high current. No?
I think this brand is different. In
must
SAF,
be-
it's
It must be
high
different.
current and low voltage, but in different. Low current and
Yes,
high
but
voltage.
this is not typical. No.
Oh, calcine pit temperature. Oh, sorry. Design. Oh, calcine. Sorry.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah.
Calcine pit temperature.
800.
Yeah.
But
No,
this
very-
will change
yeah.
very much. No?
Yeah.
I
Now
know.
it's 800.
Then we have 62 megawatt. But you know, this is really not a typical furnace because look, the consumption per kilo per ton calcine. This is very bad consumption. You cannot sell. You cannot propose a furnace to skilled fernical people with such a high consumption. Because the people I know in Greece, they have a very poor ore, they have bad conditions, and they have less than 400. Less than 400. And then, here, then we must double. And this is a normal consumption. And then we must put, instead of dry ore, we put calcine. So for me, this is either old information, not updated, but today, for me, this is a normal consumption.
Okay. I check this.
Where is this plant? Ah, oh, yeah. Oh, inside Fosco.
Show me the under the roof. Right side, left side. So we add
This
line,
we
yeah.
must
That's it.
21.
Metal height is it's leather. The leather. Bevaram, this top metal top leather.
Ah, yes.
6607 빼기 475
Ground level plus.
475,
475
1852.
1.8
What?
1.857. This metal
Metal,
height.
Here,
Yeah. This is height.
1.8
Yeah.
meters.
Yeah.
Okay. And slide.
슬라그는 빼면은 this is 슬라그 7521 빼기 475
2766
2.7
And then you have to, this shows you how much metal and slag we have in the furnace.
yeah.
But then the problem is the height metal that you understand that you, if I put 2.0 and for slag,
in this case, this that is
3. How much they how much they tap?
okay.
450 tons? No. It's, I have just put some figures as an example.
Okay.
You have to adjust this. But it must be, this one, of course, must be more than this one. And this one must be more than this one, because we want to keep some slag. But, I mean, this is not so important.
Yeah, that's okay. And
But you understand how it's done. Huh?
yeah.
Once a day.
So once a day.
But it's a huge amount. It's a huge amount. I don't think they put that much on.
라운드가 이렇게 돼 있으면 전체 이게 높이가 틀려져야 되나? 아, 잔탕이 있지. 이게 수평이 아니고 이렇게 라운드 돼 있잖아.
Yes, this is the round design,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old design. But this does not change anything.
Yeah.
It changed nothing.
Yeah.
Because the metal is always higher than this, than the metal makes this.
저도 메탈 높이를 조금
저희 지금 메탈하고 슬래그 높이죠.
그러니까 이게 어떻게 되냐면 나중에 이게 이제 메탈하고 슬래그의 전체 지금 사이즈를 결정해 얼만큼 탭핑을 할 거냐
네.
그 사이즈를 계략적으로 산출하는 데이터거든. 그래서 이제 그 이너 다이아를 21m 했어. 21m로 했을 때 그 이제 계산한 시기야 돼. 높이 1.8m에 벤치 곱해 갖고 나온 게 1.8m에서 가지고 올 수 있는 매스 전체량.
그렇죠.
그거고 이거는 슬라그 가지고 있는 전체량. 그렇게 했을 때 이제 밑에는 메탈이고 위에는 슬라그니까 이 메탈의 높이는 이 슬라그 메탈은 메탈 높이 위로까지 올라갈 수 있잖아. 그래서 요거는 요거보다 더 높고 요거보다 낮아야 되고 슬라그층까지 스트라그 텍폴까지 메탈이 나가버리면은 메탈이 높아지면은 그 위에 슬라그가 떠 있고 하면 이제 넘쳐버리는 경우가 생기잖아. 올려져 있고. 그러니까 항상 요거 위에 요 사이에 들어가야 되고 슬라그는 슬라그 최대 높이도 2.7 여기서 이제 태핑을 하는데 요거보다 조금 더 높고 위에 전체 길이를 맞춰서 보면 된단 말이에요. 그래서 3m로 생겼다고. 그렇게 했을 때 할 수 있는 그 태핑량 한 방에 태핑할 수 있는 양이 450이라 그러지.
메탈 층의 높이고 슬래그 층의 높이고.
You see,
또 우리 SF 데이터도
the important thing is what height of metal do they tap? This is the height of metal. And this is nothing other than the calculated, this is the height times the surface times the density. So, I mean, this is just, if you go there, they will explain you.
And
This is not so important, but what I would like to understand is why they have such a high consumption. There must be an explanation.
yeah.
Maybe the losses are higher. I had to calculate, but this cannot be done in 5 minutes. If you are very hot here, you have to calculate the heat that radiates to the roof. You understand? So then the losses is that plus heat losses of top layer to the roof, and this can be calculated more or less, using the heat transfer rule. But anyway, it's to me it's
비슷하게 나오네. 아까 540톤?
예.
540. 60. It's charging. Tapping time is 8 to 9 per day. Charging time.
charging,
Yeah,
no,
tapping time,
tapping
tapping time.
of metal, no, of
How much?
slag,
How much?
of metal.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. In this case,
Uh, just let me.
slug is 10.
10 times.
Yeah,
Okay.
10 times.
So it's possible. Then we set here metal. Metal we set 10 times in day.
Meters, 8 to 10.
Okay.
8 to 9 is per day.
Look, if we say the metal is 1 point. Here we have the 8 times or the 9 times. This means that they tap only 2 centimeters of metal, but of course it's possible. You open the hole
Yeah.
and you check if you have a ladle of 45 ton,
Yeah.
and when it's full, you stop and finished. And slag maybe same. So you see the height is not 3, but okay, I don't know, but actually this is not so important. You understand the principle.
왜 비슷하게 나오는데 나중에 검증해주면 되겠다.
질문에 이제 어떤 상황인지 제가
이게 뭔가 하면은 일단은 이거는 이제 계략적으로 계산한 시트란 말이야. 계략적으로 계산한 여기까지는 이해했지, 그치? 그 위에까지는.
각 층에 이제
그러니까 일단은 실 데이터를 넣어주면 되는 거잖아.
네.
실 데이터를 넣었는데 이 아까 층층 생기는 그 사이에 이 레벨 자체를 정리를 해준 거야. 메탈 레벨에서
Yeah, but in reality it is not like this because you don't tap the metal until the tap hole. You understand? This is not true exactly like this because you don't descend the metal until tap hole. You must have it over tap hole because if you descend the metal at tap hole, you will have some slag. You remember my drawing in the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
You have always some metal over the tapping.
I
hole.
know.
And therefore this is not correct. This must be not the tapping hole height, but the tapping hole plus safety height.
그래서 다시 생각하면 저 이제 height allowed 돼 있잖아. 일단은 그 메탈 태핑 홀보다 그 여기 이제 히팅에서 발생된 성물이 더 높아야지 출강을 할 거 아니야. 그 출강하는 시점을 저 기간에 그 태핑 홀 사이즈하고 그거에 계산을 해서 확인해서 그 높이를 만들어 준 거거든. 지금은 계약적으로 한 하루에 뭐 한 9번, 10번 한다니까 이렇게 수치를 맞춘 거야. 실질적으로는 저렇게 해서 했을 때 이제 우리가 프로포즈를 할 수 있는 거지. 여기서 지금 현재 태핑홀 센터에서 한 저 같은 경우에 한 20mm 2cm 정도 더 올라가면은 그 시간이 되니까 그 시간에 태핑을 하라는 그런 의미로 만들어준 거지. 2.6시간마다 45톤을 태핑할 수 있다. 그 높이를 여기서 요만큼 높여지니까